Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to Peter Frederick Weller! Welcome, Peter.
So, who speaks English? Yeah. Okay, first, the moderator's got to stop reading Wiki or IMDb because my middle name is not Frederick. Got it? It's Francis. And they've never fixed it. Because Wikipedia will not change anything. The lawyers have tried to change it, they won't change it. So it's not Frederick. Okay.
Thank you for enlightening us.
Yeah. And yeah, Peter Francis Weller. So, look, let's just start off with questions. I can't see shit with this, man. If I wanted to do Broadway, I'd come back. Why we got all this on? Hello?
Can we get some more lights?
Why don't you turn on the house lights and turn these things off? I can't see that. Yes. Now turn this off. Leave one on. Great. Now, yeah, can you see me? Yeah. If I'm going to do Hamlet, I'll go do Hamlet someplace. Right now I'm with you. So, where's questions? Who's running the questions? Who's running the questions?
Either I will do it or the audience.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, let's start.
Okay, you start with you questions. Go ahead, start.
Yeah, let's start from the beginning. And I heard music runs in your family, apparently.
Yeah, that's right.
How come? Because
Jazz, mother.
That was a quick one.
Yeah, I answered quick, man. I ain't got all day, right? I gotta go to Copenhagen and Amsterdam and Italy. So we're not gonna get into a tutorial. These are this fast. You got a quick question, I'll answer it.
Okay, let's take the next quick question.
Go ahead.
You went to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts on
Yep.
scholarship. And 2 weeks after graduation, you made your first appearance on Broadway as David in Stick and Bones.
Yeah.
And you continued working on Broadway after that.
Yeah.
When did you decide to become an actor?
I decided to become an actor when in music school, I realized I was not going to be Everybody understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was not going to sit on a bandstand the rest of my life, so the only thing to keep me out of Vietnam, yes, America was in a stupid war. You want to see how stupid it is? There's a great movie called Fog of War that won the Oscar, won the Emmy, won Berlin, won Cannes. Earl Morris, the great documentary filmmaker, 11 Lessons in Warfare with Robert McNamara. The only guy of American history that could speak about everything from Tokyo firebombing through Vietnam, through the Cuban Missile Crisis, on and on and on. He was around that long. But America was, I don't know, America's young. It still is. I did not vote for Trump. A guy came in and got an autograph. They said, well, Trump, it was a Swedish guy. And he says, Trump did a couple of good things. Name one. I say to him, I get why he was voted in. Because the white guy in America, average dude, has felt marginalized. And it's true. It doesn't matter whether you're liberal or conservative. But we have felt and so forth in Europe also. Because I was talking to another Swedish guy, a radio dude, and he's very liberal, and says, you got an idiot president. I said, I know. He said, but aren't you tired of walking on eggshells around political correctness? And I go, yeah, man, because as many gender friends as I've got, I'm tired of being appropriate. So I get why a guy, Donald Trump, was voted in, because average white dude is a little bit sick of being told he's an average white dude. So every average white dude voted for Trump. You understand this?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a dichotomy, man, and it's a mixed bag, because, man, we are upset about a lot of stuff in the United States, like a lot of stuff, and that's one of them. But this still doesn't justify Trump, so. Okay, that's my 2 cents.
Yay.
My wife is funny. She says, "You're going to Copenhagen, man. You better have a big shirt that says on one side, I did not vote for Trump, and on the back side says, I do not want Greenland." I don't have that shirt. I wish I did. Go ahead, ask again.
Yeah, and of course we're going to talk a bit about your acting, but before that, you're not only an
I
actor.
hate talking about acting. I'd rather talk about art.
Yeah, that's
Why are we talking about acting? These guys know what I did.
They know. And you are a PhD professor.
Yeah,
And
in Italian Renaissance art.
exactly. And why did you choose that part of history?
Because it's art is what? What is visual art? Come on, what is it? Now. What? Nothing. No, what is visual art through the ages? What does it represent? Culture, yeah, but what does that's historians say it's culture, yeah. What does Joe Blow walking to some church get to see?
Images.
Yeah, images, and what do? Yeah, and what happens when you go to a movie? Yeah, it's the same shit. You understand that, people? The
Yeah.
Ninja Turtles are no different than Martin Scorsese. And if you read my book, the guy that turns me on, 2 people turn me on visual art, are movie people. Ali McGraw and Vittorio Storaro. If you don't know who Vittorio Storaro is, you gotta leave. Because if I say the movies Apocalypse Now, Last Emperor, Sheltering Sky, Last Tango in Paris, The Conformist, Bernardo Bertolucci's guy, that's right. Apocalypse Now? Nobody's seen that?
Oh, yeah.
That's Vittorio, who sent me to Renaissance art, that's right. So, it's all the same stuff. Why Renaissance art? Why not? It's the same deal. I was embarrassed to do it though. I was not the smart guy who went, ooh, I'm in the movie business. I think I ought to go investigate Picasso. I could give a shit about Picasso. And then the Guernica, his largest painting ever, which is an homage to the deaths during the fascist era of Franco, said if Franco ever dies and Spain becomes a social democracy, the Guernica has to leave MoMA and go to Spain. And right before it did, in 1982, they had the biggest Picasso. You guys know what Picasso is?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I forgive you for not knowing Vittorio, but if you don't know Picasso, we're in trouble. I see people down here going, I don't know what he's talking about. Okay, Picasso, they had the greatest exhibition ever, 5 floors of Picasso from his figurative painting. You just think Picasso's a bunch of curlicues? The guy's one of the greatest figurative artists of the age of 12. All the way up to the blue period, the red period, into the abstract period. These guys like Piet Mondrian, these dudes, man, you think like, okay, what is that? Wow, it's a bunch of squares. Okay, if you back off the squares, you'll see the mathematics in it. The mathematics go back to Cézanne. Cézanne edged all of his stuff so you could see the mathematics. You go all the way back to Piero del Francesca, who said when you're looking at nature, when you're looking at a leaf, when you're looking at a snowbank, You're looking at essentially an outline of something mathematically given to you by God, which is nature. You understand all this? I just walked you all the way back to the caves of Lascaux. Buffaloes edged in black, so you could see the outline of the buffalo on the cave. That edging is the mathematics of it. So I've just given you a whole art, the world of art in like 40 seconds. Isn't that fun? And by the way, there's a great guy named Ernst Gombrich. He lived to be 101. He was a great children's writer too. And Ernst Gombrich wrote The Story of Art. Get that book, put it by your bedside. It'll walk you through all of art, and it'll explain to you why you this. You ever heard this phrase? I know what I like. Anybody ever said that to you about art? Yeah, come on. I know what I like. Ernst Gombrich said, no, man, you don't know what you like. You like what you know. And if somebody takes you by the hand and walks you through Turgenev, through Chekhov, into Ibsen and Strindberg, and then into the modernist idea of playwriting, you will end up liking it. It may not be your favorite, but you'll know it and you'll like it because somebody just walked you through it. Same thing with art. Somebody's got to walk you through it and go, oh, wow, I see what Mondrian's doing. He's abstracting squares out of the countryside. And those squares out of the countryside come from the squares out of leaves and the parabolas out of like snow prints and stuff. It's just mathematics, man. That's all it is. Everybody with me here? Yeah. And that's the story of art. You don't know what you like. You like what you know. That's true with anything. I mean, I'm Mr. Pompous Idiot, man. I was the guy who told people, don't go to Venice. Don't go to Venice. Venice is ugly, it stinks, it's a hellhole, it's filled with tourism. Who wants to go? You know, go to Rome where there's parties and things. Don't go to Venice. Yeah. Somebody talking there, man? Oh, but you can talk. Kids can talk. I know he's laughing. You can, but I love when kids talk. But you know, there's a thing about kids, man. I love it when they're talking to dads. Yeah, Venice. And then I discovered Venice in the wintertime. Because Vittoria's Torero sent me there in the wintertime. And then I spent every Christmas in Venice, Christmas, Hanukkah, everything, vacation. I spent the whole month of December in Venice. My PhD's essentially on Venice. But look, I'm the dumb guy. I'm the dumb guy who's got opinions about stuff because my experience is so limited that I got ideas, and I think my ideas are frozen in stone. And somebody's got to slap me awake. So I only got slapped awake at the age of 40. But anyway, next question. I was not. My mother tried to school me into art and travel and all this stuff. I had no desire to.
Let's go with a quick question as well then.
Yeah.
Because there are so many rumors on the internet, and apparently everything ain't correct, as your name. But I heard, I mean, normally when an actor wants to play a part, they do an audition. And I heard that you refused to audition for RoboCop. Is that true?
Yeah. I did not audition for RoboCop.
You danced, is that
I'm
correct?
a bad reader, an auditioner. And I never got anything. I got one thing that I ever auditioned for, and I auditioned 4 times in my life. And I said I could bullshit my way into a role easier, like talking to you, than I can auditioning, reading a bunch of words. Now the funny thing is that 3 days ago, a remarkable director wanted to meet about a movie, and I get offered some garbage now, and I don't do it, but this guy's a great director, and I really like a couple of his movies are really disturbing to me. And so they said, would you go and meet his casting director? I said, what's this about? They said, they might want you to read something from it I thought, man, they don't know that they see my reel, they know all this. They go, yeah. They probably just want to say hello, but if they ask you to read, would you read? I said, okay, for her, because I know her a long time. This is 3 days ago. This is on, what's today, Sunday? This is Wednesday. And I go and I look at this. I get the thing I might have to read beforehand. And the only way I can do it is to, and I don't memorize lines. This is the method. What are you doing in the room? Okay, someone has slapped the thing out of his hand, and I got to say, you dirty rat, I'm going to kill you if you ever get near her again. And so what do I do with the trumpet? Okay, I'm going to put the trumpet away, and I rehearsed what are you doing in a room. You can always tell great acting. By the way, I'm talking to 3 guys the other day who don't know where Ingmar Bergman is. This is a shame. Who doesn't know who Ingmar Bergman is in this room? Who does know who Ingmar Bergman is? Yeah, like a seminal filmmaker. Not like one of 50, one of 10. Anybody seen Persona? I have to teach this in a class, UCLA master's class. I can't tell you, like feminist literature, second methodology, these kids, American kids, graduate students, sit there and watch that film and go, holy shit! I've never seen anything so powerful between 2 people in a room. Anyway, where was I going with this? Yeah, so what am I doing in the room? What am I doing here, man? It's all about what I'm doing in the room before the guy comes in with a gun, before all of a sudden I say, okay, I'm going to slap that thing out of your hand. So anyway, I learned this scene like this. I just do some physical life. I'm supposed to be going through bills and stuff. I got the classes. I'm supposed to be eating. I take some food in. And all of a sudden the director walks in. The director and I talk for 45 minutes about the people we know, about people who influence me, people who influence him. Great bond. That's how I joined up with movies. That's how I joined up with Verhoeven. I'd seen all of Verhoeven's movies. I got a call. Some Dutch guy is doing a movie about a fucking robot. Who wants to do this? I'm sorry if I use the F-bomb. Their kids are leaving. Pardon me for... Yeah. My kid has got a thing called... You know what allowance is when you give the kid money? You know what allowance is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, my kid and I, since he is 6, have a thing called the cussing bank. The F-bomb is worth $50. The S-bomb is 20. Lord's name in vain is worth 100. Never say that. But. So he's got the cussing bank. So I've got to watch out my language. Anyway, so I go in and we talk. And then I know that this is a great thing. So that's with Verhoeven. Verhoeven said, well, I'd seen all your movies. And my agent said, this weird dude, have you ever seen his movies? I said, yeah, I've seen Soldier of War, I've seen The Fourth Man, I've seen Spetters, I've seen all of them. So when I walked in Verhoeven, I go, look, I know you make movies about very small people in exile that feel exiled, that feel lost, with a backdrop of, like a war going on, or motorcycle chases, or Christianity falling, or whatever. He goes, where do you get these ideas? I said, I can look at your movies, man. I know, I've been around the block. You make small movies of people feeling lost against the backdrop of huge opera. And that's how I got the part. And if I was him, and an actor came in and said that, I'd hire him in a second. Because that guy knows what I'm trying to do. You understand? It doesn't matter whether he can learn lines or he looks right or whatever. If that actor knows what I'm trying to do, as a director, and I'm talking up to feet, I'm in. And that's what got me the gig. Is knowing the director and knowing his work, and I love him. Yeah, that's so it's more important than an audition. But I did audition for this woman for about a couple of minutes, with eating egg salad and reading some stuff, and that was it. But I'm going to tell you this: if I work with this guy, it ain't going to be because of this audition, which was pretty good, which was just me reading some lines of the thing. It's going to be about the fact that that guy knows that what he wants to execute, I will execute with him or for him. You understand the distinction?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, B.B. Anderson and Liv Ullmann did not audition for Bergman. And you got somebody like Bergman, who could probably tell talent, and Donald Lindblom. They didn't. Those women. First of all, he cast. Forget Max von Sydow, but who's one of the greatest in the world ever. Thank God I met that guy. Come on, give it up for Max von Sydow. You don't get better than that dude. I mean, you don't. But I did my third play with B.B. And B.B. Anderson is one of the, I don't know, force of nature. What a great chick. And hotter than a pistol. It's too bad that this director was around her all the time. I was 23 and she's 38. That's not too old for me, man.
Well, Peter, I would love to go on forever, but I mean, time is flying, and you have your next.
Okay, give me. No, I don't know. You guys ask some questions. Questions. Come on, I didn't fly all the way from here. Yeah.
If they don't have a question, I
Go
can
ahead.
have like
Go
a
ahead.
final
Right in
one.
the center. Black shirt. Right there.
Just shout it out.
Okay. Can you talk about James Glickenhaus? Some great stories about him.
Who?
James Glickenhaus.
James Glickenhaus. Yeah, I loved him. He's a racing aficionado. He saved Miles Davis's life in a car wreck, a very famous car wreck, which he talks about at Road and Track. With Sam Elliott and I talk about Miles. And he was a great guy to work for, a great guy to work with. Haven't seen him in a while, but I had a great time doing that movie, man. Great time. One of the last movies shot in New York when New York was really dangerous. Really dangerous. I mean, not just dangerous because of race or drugs, but you didn't know whether white guy, brown guy, black guy, or woman was going to kill you at any second. Yeah, I loved it. Okay, next question.
Over, just shout it out.
Shout out.
Yeah, I wonder how did you get involved in Sons of Anarchy?
Oh, that's a really good question. A friend of mine, a billionaire, knew the guy who created it, and I ride, and I just wanted to direct it. I had no idea. I directed 15 of them. Most people think I just acted. I directed Y50. I directed 40, 50 episodes of television. Sons of Anarchy was my jam directing. They just asked me at the end, the last 2 years, if I played that guy, Borowski. But that wasn't my jam in Sons of Anarchy. My jam was I would direct 3 out of the 10 a year. And I was a motorcycle rider, and it was Hell's Angels, and this billionaire dude introduced me to Kurt Sutter, and Kurt Sutter's become a friend ever since. And I don't want to blow Kurt Sutter's thing, but a lot of people in the business, my business, are ex-drug addicts. Ex-drug addicts, alcoholics. You got an alcohol problem in this country, rampant. And we're ex because we live. And most of us that we hung out with in the Studio 54 days are dead. They're dead from car wrecks or jail or fights or whatever. And Kurt's one of those survivors. And when you meet somebody like that in my business, you bond immediately. Oh, you're a sober guy, yeah. Okay, what, you're in your 60s and you lived through cocaine? Yeah, and so he did too. And we bonded on that, and I became one of the directors of Sons of Anarchy, thanks to Kurt, and thanks to bikers and my association with Hell's Angels. Hell's Angels are real guys, and they are the sort of the supervisors of Sons of Anarchy. Real Hell's Angels. I'm not talking about phony bikers. I'm talking about the extras you see in Sons of Anarchy are real Crips, real Banditos, and real Hell's Angels. So when that show had a vivacity that you like, it's because they're real deal guys. Now, by the way, they're out of San Quentin, they're out of prison, and they got their Screen Actors Guild card. But believe me, they did some bad stuff, and they're grateful to be on a movie set, making $250 a day. Grateful. A lot of times the actors are not so grateful. A lot of times the actors go, "Where's my limo, please?" And a lot of times you have more fun directing a bunch of Hells Angels and Banditos and Crips than you do actors. Because those guys really want to be there. Okay, next question.
Peter, I don't want to interrupt, but we have a schedule.
I don't care. I want 2 more questions. I didn't come all this way to go schedule. Okay. Yeah, go.
Were there any plans to bring the RoboCop versus Terminator game in movie?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
Who would win?
I have no idea. Okay, next question. If you're going to ask me this fantasy stuff, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know
even the
Marvel
front.
stuff. There's somebody in the back. Go ahead.
Here?
Yeah.
Why did you not do Robocop 3?
Because I was offered Naked Lunch. And Naked Lunch
Oh,
is one
yeah,
of the 10
Lynch.
seminal books ever written in the English language, ever. And that's not my opinion. But I read it when I was 18. And I wrote Cronenberg a letter, almost begging him to do that movie. And he met me in New York, and all we talked about was Formula One racing, and Ferraris, and Senna, and Jim Clark, and Von Trips, and these guys. And so I was going to do that. I was done with RoboCop on number 2. When you make the movie with Paul Verhoeven, and you come away from that film after 6 months of preparation, and you make it something that's out of this world. Except for the money, you don't want to even do a number 2. And by the way, there's only been a good number 2, and that's Godfather. Let's face it.
Yeah.
There ain't been no other good number 2. No.
Terminator.
No. Shut up. Aliens, please. The original Alien is considered one of the most frightening films ever made. Aliens ain't even anywhere near it. The original Alien, nobody knew it was coming out of Ridley.
Empire Strikes
Yeah,
Back.
Aliens, no. Empire Strikes Back is okay, but it doesn't have the power of Star Wars. Sorry.
Okay.
Godfather 2, yeah. So no, I number 2. They offered me a ton of cash, but I knew I was done. So when they offered me Naked Lunch, I was gone. Done. Yeah. What? Go ahead. Question. You had your hand up. Yes.
Did you ever meet William Burroughs at the set of Naked Lunch or maybe?
William Burroughs, I was with him for 6 months before making Naked Lunch.
Tell some stories.
Yeah. We're talking about drugs, talking about everything. Hung out with him, went to his house in Kansas. Yeah. He's a hero to me. Yes, back in the back.
Have you met Joel Kinnaman, and what did you think about the remake of RoboCop?
I never saw any remake. I don't go to movies. I could give a shit. Okay? Say this again. As Christopher Walken said, he's my own first friend, one of my first friends. I saw him in his first film. I said, Chris, what'd you think? He said, I never saw it, Peter. I said, why didn't you see it? He said, Peter, I do not go to movies, Peter. I said, you never know. Because if they're good, I'm jealous. And if they're bad, I'm sorry I watched. So I don't watch remakes, doodads, whatever, man. I just watched Conclave, which is brilliant, and I'm also a member of the executive committee of the Oscars, the actors branch, so I should be watching one movie. Yeah, one more question. Go on, give me something here, man. And don't talk about how much the suit weighed or some bullshit about RoboCop. What do you want?
The Panos Cosmatos episodes of Cabinet of Curiosities.
Yeah.
Can you tell me how you got that part and why did you want to do it?
Okay, Panos' dad, George, is a friend of mine who did Of Unknown Origin. So I've known Panos since he's 5. And I got that gig through Guillermo, because I directed The Strain for Guillermo del Toro. Anybody not know who he is? Guillermo del Toro, really?
We know him.
Water, yeah. So Guillermo had told about Panos, and Panos I've known, and so through the two of them, and a guy named Miles Dale, who's the producer for Guillermo, they just called up and said, we're doing this anthology, and Guillermo, and did it, and had a ball. I just talked to Panos last night, but thanks for asking that. Because Panos is a gifted guy. I hope I work with him again. Sorry that his dad is gone. Okay, I'm gonna do one more. Come on, give me something other than movies, man. Yeah.
I noticed that you're signing that you had a book coming up.
I got a book coming up called Leon Battista Alberti. That guy is the savant of the Renaissance. What does the Renaissance mean? The rebirth of antiquity of Rome. Gauge your world in 20 seconds, Western world, including Sweden. Rome goes everywhere, including here. I heard this guy from the Politburo say, with Mike Medavoy before I started RoboCop, he's one of the guys who escaped during Glasnost. And somebody said, why can't you guys get with a free market economy? This is in '86. And this guy who was escapee essentially said, we can't get a free market economy because Russia does not know mid-management.
Russia don't know.
What?
I'm from Ukraine.
Yeah, okay, leave your politics at home for a second, because I'm not talking about Ukraine. But Russia does not know mid-management, this applies to Ukraine, because they've only had a king, Tsar, or Stalin. And they never had, you ready for this? This is the guy, this wakes me up because I'm not a star. They never had Rome! So anybody ever opened up a book on how sophisticated Rome was? Have you ever done that? No. Everybody ran Rome. There weren't enough guineas to go around, man. Syrians ran Syria. The Eastern Europeans ran Eastern Europe. Jews ran Judea. Egyptians ran Egypt. You know, everybody ran their own thing. Just so the market was flowing. And just so you paid the big and you got rich. What was the question? Yeah, what was it?
The question was, in short, what's that book about?
Okay, so the book is about this. The Renaissance comes back. Okay, Rome dies. Rome is wiped out. Why the Christian church? Sorry, let's face it. See the movie Agra with Rachel Weisz, Oscar Isaacs. They wipe out the academies. Everybody has to be educated in Rome, then no one's educated, okay? Then the Renaissance comes back. That's a French word that means rebirth. Rebirth of what? That means the rebirth of the plays, the philosophies, the architecture, the aesthetics, the science, the astronomy, the doctors, the medicine of what? Antiquity, Rome. Okay, most famous guy is Leon Battista Alberti. The English think they own the effing Renaissance. You ever been to Tuscany? You ever seen Room with a View? The Brits feel like they own it. Right? It's called Chianti-shire. And the Brits write this thing about this guy that he came to Florence and in 8 months wrote the original book on painting called De Pictura. I'm running around asking all these famous dudes, come on man, he didn't write that book in 8 months. He was in Padua watching Giotto, that Vittorio Storaro turned on to me. He was met Donatello in Rome. He was running around Europe, man. He went to Northern Europe. He saw what they were doing there with Jan van Eyck. He didn't come to Florence and write this in 8 months just because the Brits love Florence. And you know what I was told? Yeah, everybody knows that, but nobody teaches it because everybody's afraid of going up against England. Yeah, you laughing? Yeah. Isn't it nuts? It's so academic, man, that nobody's going to throw darts at the people that own it. So they said, but Weller, you're an actor. You don't give a damn. They think you're funny. You write it. You put your butt on the line. And so I did, and that's what the book is. All right? So it's a big welcome to this.
Thank you so much. A big round of applause for Peter Weller. Keep that up.
I have to say, I have to go to England. I'd rather be in Sweden.
Thank you.